Already, a lot of people around the NFL are worried about the Ashton Jeanty situation. Personally, I think a lot of people are jumping the gun and failing to see the big picture. For this episode, I'll use an article from the fan-cited Just Blog Baby website, which I'll post the link to in the video description. The article begins by pointing out that obviously the Raiders invested heavily in a rookie running back Ashton Jeanty with the number 6 overall pick, planning to have him feature prominently in our offense. Here, however, I already take issue. Our organization's motto and charge is just win, baby, which means we'll take wins wherever and however we can get them. So I don't think we drafted Jeanty to send a blatantly clear message that we would have a run-first, entirely Jeanty-centered, Jeanty-focused offense. First of all, that would be stupid telegraphing on our part. And second of all, one can see that Jeanty's presence alone is enough to put defenses on their heels expecting the run, thus opening up our passing game. And I believe we saw a little bit of that play out in the previous 2 weeks. This article continues that things are not coming up roses given the fact that through 2 games, Jeanty's statistics are not at all impressive. Here, however, I urge caution and remind Raider fans to temper their anger and temper their angst, as it's just 2 games into the season. Also, during the first week, Jeanty was playing in wet, rainy conditions. Also, our offensive line is still meshing together and getting to know one another. Last year, we saw our offensive line evolve and improve together as the year went on. This year, we obviously hope that that evolution occurs much quicker. But I'd argue that it already is. Our offensive line was night and day from week 1 to week 2, as evidenced by how many more holes the line opened up for Jeanty against the Chargers. Can our offensive line be better? Oh, yeah. Can they be way better, substantially better? Oh, yes, definitely. But I definitely do already see progress in just 2 weeks. And the article goes on to agree with my sentiment a little bit, pointing out how Jeanty's low production is mostly due to poor run blocking by our offensive line, with play calling also playing a smaller role. I like that they brought up play calling. Chip Kelly is also adjusting and getting settled with his offense. So given his excellent history with offenses that he's managed, I'm going to err on the side of caution and trust Kelly for another week as far as making adjustments for Jeanty, the line, and the entire offense. It's not as though we drew up a god-awful game plan against the Chargers. It's just that Kelly didn't adjust our passing game quickly enough. He also failed to optimize his usage of Jeanty, and he potentially fell victim to Geno taking too many downfield risks. Whereas, in those spots, he might have been better off with checkdowns. Again, our offensive line can grow together as the season progresses. And since Chip Kelly is a championship caliber coach, I believe that he's more than capable of learning from his mistakes. So in this regard, don't abandon hope yet, Raider Nation. The article continues pointing out that Las Vegas ranks 31st in both rushing yards per game and yards per carry, making the run game one of the league's worsts, our run game. Despite drafting Jeanty to improve the ground game, the article points out that the Raiders' rushing attack has actually declined compared to last year and still lacks explosive plays. And once again, guys, look, this analysis in and of itself is a little Chicken Little in nature. In other words, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. The author points out these stats as if we're 5 or 6 games into the season. There's still time to fix all this. 2 games is a very, very small sample size, and we're 1-1. And let's not pretend, once again, that Jeanty has not shown any flashes or any improvement yet. Heck, he booked a touchdown against New England, and against LA, He ran for first downs, had other substantial rushes, and again showcased his ability to truck defenders. So there's plenty of promise. Don't get it twisted. And it apparently needs repeating. Rookies are still rookies. They cannot all be Brock Bowers right out of the gate. So give Jeanty a little grace, for heaven's sake. He's going to experience growing pains, which is reasonably expected. The article continues, pointing out that Pro Football Focus shows only Colton Miller and Jordan Meredith grading as above-average run blockers, with everyone else on our line struggling. Parham, Powers Johnson, Glaze, and Kappa have each posted poor grades. Additionally, advanced stats show that Jeanty is getting hit almost immediately, recording negative and minimal yards before contact in the first 2 games. Once again, all this is true, of course, but it also ignores the bigger picture. Jeanty was definitely getting better lanes and yards against the Chargers compared to week 1. And in all fairness, the article does point out some positivity, noting how, despite little help, Jeanty has more yards after contact than total rushing yards, showing that there's a lot of fight in this kid, there's a lot of toughness in him, and he's indeed fighting hard for every yard. Yes, like I alluded to earlier, Jeanty's shown a bit of promise. The guy's shown, as evidenced by his willingness and ability to truck defenders, that he is a beast. Plus, if you actually go back and watch the runs that he's broken when he gets a little open room, the guy has great burst of speed. The article closes by opining that unless the offensive line and coaching staff fix the blocking issues quickly, Las Vegas' season could spiral out of control. Now, to me, this is a little melodramatic because I don't believe the offensive line is going to stagnate or regress from where it's currently at. Additionally, you can never forget that the mission is just win, baby. So in my opinion, and this would be my mindset as one of our coaches, the threat of Jeanty works multiple ways. First, take advantage of the fact that opposing defenses are thinking to themselves, yeah, Jeanty's been lackluster, but that doesn't mean he can't and won't go off. This alone can open up wonders in our pass game. Secondly, take advantage of the fact that opposing coaches are possibly thinking, wow, with all the media focus on Jeanty's slow start, the Raiders might start really feeding him the ball and fielding a run-heavy offense to stick it to the critics. Again, Chip Kelly can take that and do great things through the air if the defenses are thinking this way about us. Finally, what if opposing coaches buy into all this talk and say, you know what, the Raiders can't run the ball? Let's entirely and solely focus on shutting down their passing attack. Well, then you'd have a perfect opportunity to kick off Ashton Jeanty season on such an unsuspecting game plan. And let's close with a little more hope for Raider Nation. We have the Commanders on Sunday, who are not defensive juggernauts by any stretch of the imagination. Let's not pretend that through what they've shown us in 2 weeks, they cannot be had. They can be had. They rank middle of the pack, 16 in overall defense, 14th against the run, and 18th against the pass. If Jeanty and our line keep improving like they did from week 1 to week 2, and Geno resembles week 1 instead of week 2 Geno, this is another winnable East Coast trip. We can do this, Raider Nation. Don't panic. Keep the faith and just win, baby.